It was nearly 9 p.m., and the closed-door committee meeting on judicial appointments had stretched well beyond its scheduled end time. Papers were scattered across the mahogany table. Coffee cups stood empty, and patience was wearing thin. Representative Jasmine Crockett adjusted her glasses and continued reviewing the document before her, making notes in the margins. She'd been on the committee for 8 months now, and despite her constitutional law background and courtroom experience, certain colleagues still treated her like an unwelcome guest. "If we could return to the matter of the Fifth Circuit nominees," she said, not looking up from her notes. "There are inconsistencies in the background checks that warrant Jesus Christ. Can we wrap this up already?" Senator Richard Blanchard cut in, leaning back in his chair with a theatrical sigh. The 68-year-old from Missouri had been in Congress since Crockett was in high school. "We've beaten this horse to death. I believe thoroughness matters when appointing lifetime federal judges," Crockett replied evenly. Finally looking up, "These discrepancies deserve, you know why they put you on this committee, don't you?" Blanchard interrupted again, a smirk forming at the corner of his mouth. His eyes darted around the room, seeking allies. "You're just a pretty face they put in a seat to look good on camera." Several of the men around the table chuckled. Not everyone. Some looked down awkwardly or pretended to check their phones. But enough laughter rippled through the room to make Blanchard's smile widen. Crockett didn't laugh. She didn't flinch. She didn't look away. She set her pen down deliberately and straightened her posture. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees as her gaze locked onto Blanchard's face. "Thank you for reminding me why I speak louder than men like you." Her voice was quiet but crystal clear, carrying to every corner of the suddenly silent room. No one moved. No one said a word. "Men like you," she continued, "who mistake longevity for legacy, who believe that belittling others somehow elevates them, who think that my appearance is somehow more relevant than my law degree or the people I represent." Blanchard's smirk had vanished, replaced by a reddening face. "I didn't mean," he started. "I know exactly what you meant, Senator." Crockett gathered her papers with methodical precision. "And I want to thank you sincerely, because every time someone like you tries to reduce me to just my appearance, it reminds me exactly why voices like mine are so necessary in these rooms." She stood up, buttoned her blazer, and tucked her portfolio under her arm. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll submit my concerns about these nominees in writing, since apparently thorough vetting of lifetime judicial appointments is less important than getting home." At a reasonable hour, she walked toward the door without looking back, her heels clicking against the marble floor in the dead silence. Just before reaching the exit, she paused. "Oh, and Senator, for the record it's Representative Crockett or Congresswoman. I worked hard for that title. I'd appreciate you using it." The door closed behind her with a soft click that somehow sounded like thunder. 3 days later, Representative Crockett was reviewing constituent correspondence in her office when her chief of staff, Marcus, appeared. In the doorway, "You're trending again," he said, holding up his phone. Crockett sighed, removing her reading glasses. "What now?" "Someone leaked what happened in that committee meeting. There's video." Her stomach dropped. "Video? It was a closed-door session. How is there video?" Marcus handed her the phone. On screen was footage clearly taken from someone's phone under the table, grainy but clear enough to capture Blanchard's comment and her response. The clip ended as she stood to leave. "It's everywhere," Marcus said. "CNN just called. So did MSNBC, Fox, and about 20 other outlets." Crockett put the phone down and closed her eyes for a moment. She'd stood up for herself, yes, but she hadn't intended for it to become public spectacle. Committee business was supposed to remain confidential until official release. "There's more," Marcus added, his voice taking on an unusual edge. "Blanchard's office released a statement an hour ago." Her eyes snapped open. "Let me guess. He's playing victim." "Actually, no." Marcus handed her a printed statement. "Read it yourself." The statement was brief but unmistakable. "During a recent committee meeting, I made remarks to Representative Jasmine Crockett that were inappropriate, disrespectful, and beneath the dignity of the office I hold. My comments reflected neither my better judgment nor the values I claim to represent. I have personally apologized to Representative Crockett and will be making a public statement this afternoon. I take full responsibility for my words and the harm they may have caused." Crockett read it twice, disbelief washing over her. Her office phone rang, and Marcus answered it. After a brief exchange, he covered the mouthpiece. "It's Senator Blanchard. He's asking if you'll meet with him. Privately, no staff." She hesitated only a moment before nodding. 30 minutes later, she was sitting across from Blanchard in a small conference room in the Capitol basement. No cameras, no staff, just 2 elected officials at a table. He looked older than he had in the committee room, tired. The confidence replaced with something that looked remarkably like shame. "I had a speech prepared," he began, "but I think I'll just speak plainly if that's all right with you." She nodded but remained silent. "My granddaughter called me yesterday. She's 17, heading to college next year, pre-law." He paused, his voice roughening. "She saw the video. Asked me if that's what I thought of women in politics. Asked if that's what I'd think of her if she ran for office someday." Blanchard looked down at his hands. "I've been in politics for 36 years. I've seen administrations come and go. I've worked across the aisle, broken bread with opponents, built coalitions, but I've never—" He stopped, clearing his throat. "I've never had to explain myself to my granddaughter before." Crockett's expression remained neutral. "What did you tell her? The truth? That I was wrong? That I'm part of a generation of men who sometimes forget that the world has changed, and thank God it has." He looked up. "That doesn't excuse what I said." "Nothing does. Why are you telling me this?" "Because I want you to know that your words hit home. Not just with me. My chief of staff, a woman who's put up with more than her share of comments, like mine, handed me her resignation this morning. 30 years. She's worked for me. Said she couldn't do it anymore." Crockett sat back, surprised. "I'm sorry to hear that." "Don't be. She deserved better. So do you." Blanchard pushed a folder across the table. "These are the inconsistencies in the Fifth Circuit nominees you were trying to address. I had my staff compile everything. You were right, there are serious concerns here." She opened the folder, scanning the contents. It was comprehensive, far more detailed than what she'd been able to compile on her own. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because the nominations deserve proper scrutiny, and because you were doing your job while I was being—" He trailed off. "An ass," she supplied. For the first time, a genuine smile crossed his face. "I was going to say a dinosaur, but yours works too." She closed the folder. "What happens now, Senator? You use this information however you see fit, and I announce my retirement at the end of this term." Crockett's eyebrows shot up. "Because of this incident?" "No, because it's time. I've been considering it for a while, but this—" he gestured vaguely. "This made it clear that some perspectives need to step aside for new ones." He stood up, straightening his suit jacket, "including mine." As he moved toward the door, Crockett called after him, "Senator." He turned. "Your granddaughter. Tell her there's an internship in my office if she wants it. Merit-based, of course." Something flickered across his face. Gratitude, perhaps, or respect. He nodded once. "Thank you, Representative Crockett." This time, she was the one who remained seated as the door closed behind him. She opened the folder again and began to read. There was work to do.